What's good with y'all, man? So I just thought today I wanted to bring y'all something a little bit different, man. I want to start doing just different stuff, man, different lifestyle stuff. Y'all know I have a gaming channel. This is primarily what I like to do, but I want to start trying to venture off into like lifestyle stuff, man. Just fun on camera type stuff. So with that being said, I got a little story time for y'all today. Alright, so this is about the time, as you can see in the title, I got catfished, man. Alright, so let me see if I can remember, and I'm gonna try not to get too long-winded because I hate leaving out the little details of a story. Every little detail of the story makes the story what it is. So I'm gonna try not to make it too drawn out. But anyway, so this had to be like maybe 5? I don't even know how many. It was at least 5+ years ago. I don't know exactly, but we went on a family reunion trip to St. Louis. It was me, my dad, my cousin on my dad's side. Her name is Chandler. What's good, cuz? So we go on this trip. So me in the past, I hate riding with my dad. Like, it's all the trips. Like, we used to travel to families' houses in Mississippi like all the time when I was a kid. So I already knew what that experience was like. When my dad controlling the car, like, you gotta ride with him the whole time, and every move you gotta make when you actually get to your destination, you gotta be with him. And it was a nightmare, man. I enjoyed spending time with my family and my pops and them over there, but this time I was like, man, you know what? I'm an adult now. I was probably like early 20s or something. I'm like, I'm driving, I got my own whip, I'm gonna drive. So my dad drove, and then me and my cousin drove. Then that way we could, play all the, it was late. Like, me and my cousin, we was playing music and the whole way there. So we went to St. Louis. I don't know how many hours, maybe like 5 hours away or something like that. Anyway, nah, I'm wrong. It's probably maybe a little more. I don't remember how long it took to get there. Anyway, so we get there, and you know how I go with the family reunion thing. Like, you get to the destination that's out of town. Y'all go check into y'all hotel room. You get settled in, and then you just kind of figure out, like, all right, we all settled in. Let's figure out what we can get into the first night or whatever. So I don't think we really did too much the first day. I can't really remember. It was so long ago. I think the very next day was like, you have like an itinerary. A lot of the time, the last thing we do is the banquet. And so, but I think this time the banquet, we did it fairly early. Anyway, so we get to a hotel the next day. I'm like, man, my dad, he got up, he going to kick it with some of our older cousins and stuff like that. And so I'm just and we shared a room, I think. Me and my pops shared a room. So my pops was out the room for a while. So he was just kicking it with fam. I'm like, man, I'm just chilling, scrolling. I'm like, man, just enjoying my time. And I'm just scrolling through my phone. I'm like, I'm finna hop on a dating app, see what we can get into, man. You feel me? Like, I got a little downtime. We ain't got nothing scheduled for a few hours. I was like, let me get on this dating app and see if I could, see what I see. You feel me? So I'm scrolling through this dating app, and I'm on Plenty of Fish. I'm scrolling through. I'm getting a few matches. So I'm just like, I probably wasn't taking it too serious. Like, I wasn't really gonna try to pull up on somebody, but at the same time, I was like, I don't know, who knows? Let's just see what happens. I'm scrolling through, see this one girl. She looked decent, she wasn't like all the way quite up to my standards, but it wasn't, I wasn't trying to be too serious with it. I'm just doing something to just blow off time, have fun. So she was kind of cute though. So I'm scrolling through, I'm like, damn, she decent. And I'm looking at her, I'm going through her pictures. I'm like, okay. So we get to messaging back and forth. And so she just giving me a little bit of details about herself. I'm giving her a little details about myself. I told her I'm out of town for a little bit, just on a trip, family reunion trip. So it gets to the point, I don't remember the exact conversation, it was so long ago, but it gets to the point where it's like, we are actually trying to link up. I'm like, okay. So she give me her location, like the area she in, so I look it up. And I'm not from St. Louis, so I'm from Chicago, so I know how it can be rough in certain parts of the city, but I don't know those rough parts of the city in St. Louis. So I'm just looking up her area and everything, just trying to see how far away from me it is. And so I look it up, it's probably like it was maybe no more than 10 minutes or so. Like, it wasn't too far from me. Like, it couldn't have been too much further than 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes or so. I would say somewhere around the 15-minute mark. I was like, cool. So I ain't got nothing going on for a few hours. I'm finna pull up. So I'm getting ready and stuff. I'm excited. I'm like, man, like this is what's up. I'm doing some adventurous type shit. Like I'm branching out, trying some shit. So I get all nice looking. I had like some extra fits just for the hell of it. I wasn't gonna use none of the fits that I was gonna use for any of the events scheduled on the itinerary. So I'm just prepared, bro. I'm ready to go crazy. So I get ready, hop in the whip, pull up. Keep in mind, I didn't tell nobody. I didn't tell my cousin. I didn't tell my pops. I didn't tell nobody. Nobody knew what I was doing. Nobody knew I was even leaving nowhere. Nobody knew where I was at. That was the first red flag. Like, why am I not telling people that I'm finna just go kick it real quick or try something? I could have said I was going out to go shop or something. I just dipped off. Nobody even knew I left the room. So, first red flag, man. So, I pull up. I'm on riding down, listening to my music, just vibing. I'm like, man, this finna be fun, man. I'm finna meet somebody new. Who knows where it's gonna go? It's gonna be fun. It's exciting, man. Doing just adventurous stuff. I'll pull up, get off the E-way, and keep in mind, I'm messaging her. I don't think I ever actually got her number. Like, I'm communicating with this girl through the actual dating app, POF. So I'm communicating with her, She eventually I think I had to get her numbers, like, so I could call her. Matter of fact, I did get her number before I hopped in the car. I did end up getting her number, and I didn't talk to her yet. I was just texting. And so I get off the E-way. I get to her area. I'm probably like 5 minutes away or so. I text her, finna pull up. So she telling me, okay. I get to her block. I'll pull up. I'm looking around, just scanning, and in the words of Soul Illuminati, I'm scanning the environment. And then all of a sudden, I'm just like getting this weird feeling. I'm like, bro, where am I? Like, I felt like I was pulling up to a whole new, like, city or something. Like, it felt like it wasn't even the same city. Like, everything was bogus. Like, the grass was tall. It just looked hoodie. You know when you get to a hoodie spot in a city, like, you like, damn, this shit, I'm in the hood somewhere. Like, so I continue to proceed down the block. So now at this point, you know how you get to the close to your destination, you turn the music down a little bit. I'm trying to get my bearings. I'm like, okay, she say this address, blah, blah, blah. I'm riding down the street. All I see is straight, like, abandoned looking houses. I'm like, bro, at this point, I'm like, is this, she trying to set me up? I'm like, oh shit. So rolling, I can keep rolling, riding down the street. I think I finally come up to the house where she say the address was. I'm looking at the houses as I'm rolling. I'm like, okay, boom, boom, boom. That's the house. I was like, that's the address she gave me. I'm looking at this house. I'm like, bro, what is this? It looked like a haunted house, bro. I kid you not. The house looked haunted. It was like the grass. It was like a big front window, but the window was bust out, bro. I cannot make this up. The window was busted out in the house that she sent me. And the grass was almost as tall as the porch. Like, you know those porches, those front porches where you gotta walk up the stairs to get to the front door? When I tell you the grass was almost as tall as the top step on the porch. Like, the porch is taller than me. The grass was up to the porch. The windows was busted out. No cars was in front of the house. I'm like, bro. At that point, I'm like, she set me up. So now I'm looking all around me. I'm like, all right, what the dudes at? So I parked down the street a little bit just to see. I don't know what was wrong with me. At that point, when you gave me a wrong address, or you gave me something that just looked sketchy, I pull up to a house with a broken out front window. Like, why are you staying, bro? Like, why are you staying? That don't even make sense at that point. But me, I guess I was young and dumb. I don't know. Like, I don't know what was wrong with me. I didn't want to I felt like I drove 15 minutes. I was like, I ain't trying to waste my time like this. I'm going to see what it's about. Pretty dumb of me, but now that I'm looking back on it, but whatever, it is what it is. So I pulled down the street a little bit. I parked maybe, I don't know, half the block down, just enough to where I could still see the building, but I could also get out of there if something, like if it looked ugly. So I'm like, I'm communicating with her. I parked down the street and I'm communicating with her. I'm like, I'm outside. She like, where you at? She's like, I don't see you. I'm like, I'm outside. Just trust me, come outside. So she like trying to locate the car. She's like, which car are you? I'm like, how can you see outside? I don't even see nothing. I'm like, I don't see you. I don't see you in the window. I'm like, hi, what are you looking at? Where are you? Where are you? I'm in the house. I'm like, bro, at this point, I'm tempted to just pull off, bro. I'm like literally 2 seconds from just pulling off. Like, all right, abort mission, like it's over with. So I'm like, at this point, I'm on the phone with her. I'm like, where are you? So I'm like, okay, I'm the silver cop down the street. She's like, oh, why you parked so far down? I'm like, oh, I guess I came to the wrong house. So I'm sitting there, I'm gonna say, you coming out? She's like, yeah, I'm gonna come out now. Bro, when I tell you, I'm sitting there watching, she ends up making her way outside. She comes out the house with a broken front glass. I'm like, I can't make this up. She walks out of the house with the front window busted out. I'm like, what I saw at that point, bro, I thought this had to be something out of a movie. Like, this couldn't be real life, bro. She comes out the house. She's probably, it looked like it could have been her grandma or something, bro. Like, when I say she had to be like 50 pounds heavier than what she was in the picture. And we young, so it's not like she could have found some picture from her being a young teenager, early 20s. You know, like we was early 20s, so she couldn't get too much younger. That's how she looked. But it was just still completely different. Like it was 30 years later or something. Like that shit was weird as hell. She came out, wide as all outside, smoking a cigarette. I'm like, a square, bro? A square? Like, I was like, ooh. She get to walking down the street. I'm like, damn. I was like, literally so close. I'm like, I should just pull off on her right now. Like, I'm like, I really think I'm gonna just pull off on her. Me being the nice dude that I am, I didn't want to it just felt grimy as fuck to just pull off. But I probably would have, like, looking back on it, like, this was today, I probably would have pulled it off. Like, I'm not even gonna lie to you. Bro, she walks up to the car, gets in the car. It was just, bro, it was literally a nightmare, bro. Like, she looked completely different, but I could tell it was still her. She had a cigarette in her hand. And so from there, I was just like, I knew where this was going. I'm like, I was like, I'm not about to really take this serious. Like, I'm finna try to get up out of here somehow. But so anyway, we made a little bit of small talk, and I'm just the whole time just devastated. And you can tell she kind of like looking at me like, not like, she kind of looking at me like happy that she met me. Like, you can tell she's happy she met me. So that's what made me want to stay a little bit more. So I'm sitting there, like, we just talking a little bit or whatever, and I'm thinking, like, how the hell can I get out of here? And I know I got to get ready for this banquet, like, you know, in a little bit, but I was pretty much trying to lead up to that in the conversation. I'm telling her, I'm like, yeah, I'm out of town on a family reunion. We got this banquet later. I'm gonna have to get ready for it in a little bit, but the whole time I'm trying to lead up into my escape. I'm like, I know after a little bit of small talk, I'm gonna be like, all right, well, it was nice meeting you. We can maybe link up again before I leave the city. I'm finna go get ready for this banquet. But it couldn't come fast enough, bro. Like, I don't know. Like, I couldn't figure out the perfect transition into, all right, I'm gonna head out. So luckily we talking or whatever. I'm completely like, just the whole time I'm looking around, trying to figure out, making sure ain't nobody running up on me or nothing. But at this point, I'm pretty convinced, like, damn, like, this really is who I also came here to meet. And I kid you not, I forgot all about this part. This girl, literally, we sitting there talking. I'm already disgusted, ready to go. I can't make this up, bro. She tells me, oh, I know her. Hold on, roll your window down. I'm like, what? I see like some lady walking down the street looking like some strung out crackhead or something. I'm like, why? She roll your window down. I roll my window down. Bro, she gets to yelling at some lady that looks like a complete crackhead. And like, this lady gets to walking towards my car. She got a baby in her hand. She just looks super strung out. I'm like, bro, like, what is going on right now? So now she's sitting here having this verbal conversation with some strung out lady right here, right in my ear. I'm like, this, all right, this, I gotta get up out of here, bro. Like, I don't know what's gonna happen next. I gotta get up out of here. So fast forward, we talking, blah, blah, blah. I'm trying to figure out how to get up out of there. My cousin actually called me. She hit me up. She's like, where you at? I think she, it wasn't really time for the banquet, but she just probably wanted to just link up and get into something. So I'm like, damn, you couldn't have called me at a better time. Like her number popped up on my phone, and I showed her. I'm like, oh, this is my cousin. I think I gotta get ready to go. So I hop on the phone with her for a second. She's like, where you at? I was like, I stepped out for a little bit, blah, blah, blah. Now, at this point, I get off the phone with my cousin. This is the perfect time, my perfect way to get up out of that. I'm like, all right, well, my cousin, she pretty much saying, let's go. Like, it's time to get ready for the banquet. And like, I kid you not, I can't make this up. I look over at the girl, like she could tell I'm trying to make my escape. You can tell she probably knows, like she just senses, as well as I feel like I played it off. You can tell she sensed this was gonna be the last time we ever saw each other. And this girl, like literally, like I've never seen desperation like so blatant on somebody's face. Like you could just tell she started looking around, and then she was like, she grabbed my phone, like, let me see your phone real quick. And I was like, why? I let her see my phone. Then she gave me her phone. Keep in mind, she had like an old, like busted up Android phone or something. It was like a super old, bogus phone. She gave me her phone. Like, she's like, we're gonna switch phones for the day. I'm like, what? I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna have to knock this girl out cold and kick her out of my car. Like, I didn't know what she was about to do. She grabbed my phone. She gave me her phone. She's like, we switching phones for the day. I'm like, no, we're not. I was like, I have to go. Then she's still looking around my car, like, it looked like she was just trying to like grab something or something to like cling on to me or something, like to like keep a piece of me. Or I don't know. Like it was so weird, bro. And then once I eventually got my phone back, she had her phone. She like grabbed her phone and opened up the camera and started like taking pictures like with me. I'm like, what are you doing? Like what? Like it was so weird, bro. I was at that point starting to fear for my life. Like I legit started to fear for my life. So eventually, bro, I managed to calm her down and slow. I was like trying my best to convince her. It probably got obvious that I was just trying to get out of there. I was trying my best to convince her. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna pull back up on you, boo. Like, after this banquet or whatever, I'm gonna pull up back. We gonna do something. We gonna link back up. We gonna do something before I leave the city. I don't know how I got out of that, bro, but I could have literally lost my life. Like, you don't be doing stuff like that, bro. Like, I understand you want to be adventurous and stuff, but I don't know, bro. Anything could have happened, man. That was literally one of the craziest times of my life. Like, I pulled up on this random girl. She wasn't who she said she was. The area looked terrible. I felt like I was finna get set up. And, hey, I made it out of there. But, man, it wasn't even worth it. Maybe it was, because I got this story to tell. But that was like a crazy time in my life, man. I was doing some crazy stuff, but I'm gonna wrap this video up, man. First story time. Ain't too much happened in that, but I just thought that was a funny story to share. I don't think I told none of my family that to this day. Like, I linked back up with my cousin, and we just continued the trip, the family reunion trip, as if none of that happened. And I don't think I told none, but now, if y'all didn't know, now y'all know. But yeah, man, I'm gonna wrap this up. This is my first story time. I got plenty more story times. I think I'm finna keep doing this, man. I like reminiscing on stuff like this. So, I'm gonna probably drop some ideas. Y'all let me know which ones y'all want to hear next. But that's the end of this video, man.